Hello guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber. As always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. I appreciate everybody that came through on the live stream last night. We had us a good time, man. Thanks everybody, DRC family, for representing. But I want to talk about some news today with you guys and some Tyre Nichols news on the case. As you guys well know, we've been covering this, the happenings and keeping up with this case ever since it started on his channel. And some new news has came out. Now Monday, that just passed, Monday was the deadline for these 4 officers that are still remaining. Because remember, it was 5 of them. Then Desmond Mills Jr. took a deal, right? A couple months ago, I think like in April, he took a deal. Well, recently, another police officer, the one that's did the most damage, in my opinion, to Tyre Nichols, which ultimately caused his death, Emmitt Martin III, just took a deal. Now, Monday was the deadline. It was supposed to be Friday. I guess they moved to Monday. Monday was the deadline for them to put in deals. If they don't put in deals, then they go to trial. So now that means you have 3 out of 5 officers: Demetrius Haley, Tadarius Bean, Justin Smith will be at the trial. Now, I will be at the trial also. You guys know we're going to Memphis for an extended period of time. This will be the first actual trial I cover up close. So it'll be interesting. I'll have a little bit of tidbits and things that the media doesn't tell you while I'm there. I'll learn some things by talking to people and seeing myself. But take a look at the story of the video, what they got so far, and his motive, which he revealed why he did what he did to Tyre Nichols.
Former Memphis police officer Emmitt Martin strikes a deal with prosecutors, changing his plea to guilty in the Tyre Nichols case. He is the second former Memphis police officer to plead guilty to charges related to Nichols' 2023 beating and death. Hello, I'm Greg Hurst.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Skurlock. WREG's Brian Ditlake joins us live from downtown tonight. And for the first time, Brian, we are hearing what motivated this officer to beat Nichols that night.
Today we were all witness in the courtroom to Mr. Martin accepting responsibility and pleading guilty.
Standing outside federal court, Emmitt Martin stood alongside his attorneys, changing his tune about 2 weeks before his scheduled trial. The night of the encounter, Martin was the first to see Nichols. His attorneys say he was driven by anger.
Driven by fear. Fear of what he had done. Fear of the consequences of the using that excessive force. Mr. Martin tried to cover it up.
Martin pleaded guilty to 2 of the 4 counts against him: excessive force and conspiracy to witness tamper. In exchange for the guilty plea, prosecutors recommending a sentence not to exceed 40 years while dropping the other 2 counts. However, the judge has the final say.
The dominoes are starting to fall. We expect the other officers to also do the same.
Martin is the second former officer to change his plea behind Desmond Mills. The 3 other fired officers, Darius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith, retained their not guilty plea.
I do know that Martin and Haley were one of the main people that did the things to my son. It was good to hear him finally admit the guilt.
And when the orders come from the top that there might be unconstitutional policing, then you got to fix it.
The reason? Both family attorneys say the city of Memphis should be on notice.
What responsibility does the city of Memphis bear for this heinous act that was condoned?
That was Brian Ditlake reporting. Now, Emmitt Martin and the rest of the former officers are still facing charges in state court. The sentencing date for Martin is now set for December 5th.
Okay. Guys, that's the news, and I gotta admit, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Not that deals were given, but they gave him a deal. Emmitt Martin, out of all of them. Now, we know we covered this chat. We got video on top of video on top of video about Tyre Nichols on this channel. And you know, we broke this thing all the way down. What did it say? Stuff we talked about already. What was this quote? I killed him out of anger. We saw that. Remember, I showed y'all them videos a lot of people didn't have until they came out later of when they was loading him up in the ambulance. You seen Emmitt Martin III staring at him mean. Remember, he was holding his vest. He was looking at him while they was putting him up in the ambulance. Anybody with eyes seen that Tyre Nichols was in dire shape, bad shape. They sat around, looked at him, didn't render aid. Now, we're going back to this federal trial. If you paid attention, they was charged with 4 things. One was violation of color of law. Remember that? That was meaning like, as an officer of the law, you didn't mean to kill him, but he died anyway from actions provided in y'all's apprehension. They cut that off. So they cut the color of law situation out of it. The other thing was failure to intervene. These are all things that fall into the violation. Remember, they were saying if there's a bunch of cops there, it's another cop's responsibility to get, you know, aid the suspect when another cop is going too far, or at least report it. They did none of that. Because you can remember, they was trying to paint it like Tyre Nichols was on drugs. He was strong. He was like an animal. They were fearful. Stuff we talked about before. They didn't know what to do. They never seen this. So they was just trying to subdue him by any means necessary, which we know was a pile of crap. Now I want you to pay attention. Now it said back in April, Desmond Mills Jr. took his deal. Part of the deal was the sentence was not supposed to exceed more than 15 years. So we know for a fact in this trial before he went and turned state's evidence to testify against these other 4 officers. We talking about Desmond Mills Jr. His sentence cannot exceed 15 years. Now, a lot of us that been locked up and had trials or sentencing, or we've been in the jail system. When you learn all this stuff in jail, when you got a serious case, the closer you get to the trial date, and this is 2 weeks from now, I'll be down there, 4 days, hopefully. And the closer you are to the trial date, the more insane the deals get to get out. So there's a part where once you get out of a certain distance and it closes to the trial date, the water gets deeper and deeper and you're trying to swim for your life if deals are offered. Now they done passed, Monday they just passed that part where the water got deep, where everybody want to jump off the boat, they could by taking a plea. Emmitt Martin was the only one that jumped. Out of everybody, he the one that's facing most time. The other 3, we ain't do nothing, even though we know Justin Smith and Tredarius Bean teed off on him multiple times on the ground, then held him up like a Western, both arms, while Emmitt Martin III beat him senseless and gave him significant injury. Now, what he did plead guilty to, they kept the excessive force and they kept the witness tampering. Lawyers said, oh, he was scared, so we covered it up. He was scared after his actions of what he done. It's an admission of guilt. He used excessive force. He witness tampered, but he only witness tampered after he was fearful of the excessive force he used to kill another human being. So they threw out those 2 things. He didn't intervene, and he didn't mean to kill him, but he died anyway. And they replaced it with excessive force and witness tampering. The lightest things in the sentence. See how the justice system is? This man need to be paraded and sat up there and spoke about his company. How does he get a deal? That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Now, remember we talked about Desmond Mills. his sentence could not exceed 15 years. This is why I told you the closer you get, the worse this get with the deal. So it kind of forces you to where you're like, hell, I might as well go up there and take the stand and fight for my life because the options ain't no better. What does his thing say? Prison won't exceed 40 years. So he can get up to 40 years. See, for these people to take these deals, and like people on the outside that have never been through this process, they see that 40 years and it scares them. Or they'll see that 15 years and it scares them. And you're like, man, I can't go to jail for that long. The sentencing guidelines can be anywhere between, it ranges. So for them to take them deals, they're willing to roll the dice on their own freedom for the lower number, whichever it may be, for Mr. Desmond Mills Jr. and Emmitt Martin III. So his sentencing date is December 5th. We'll see how that goes. Now remember, I got to go back. This is my first Memphis trip because this is only the federal civil rights violations case and all of that stuff. The murder case in Memphis is the big one. This is big too because they're getting charged and they'll go into custody. December 5th, Emmitt Martin goes to jail. Once you get that sentence, they take you immediately. So he has to turn, basically that's his turn-in date when he goes in front of the judge and receives his sentence. It said, I was looking at an article, it said that Rovine Wells, Tyre Nichols' mother, smiled when he got up and the judge accepted the plea. So my opinion, you know, I don't know these folks and I always wish them the best and I respect them because I mean, they went through a lot and they still here, still professional when they speak and they still want answers. I give them respect. I think they're tired of this. They want this whole thing to be over with. I'm sure the whole city of Memphis want the whole thing to be over with. Because I'm gonna be honest, man, I mean, this right here puts a stain that can't be removed on the city of Memphis because history of what happened to Tyre Nichols happened in that city. That's bad. These guys are public officials. They did something so crazy, put a stain on the city. But we'll see how it goes. Now there are three left. So the trial will be with 3 people. And I'll be down there and I'll give you all the information I can get. So we going to Memphis. Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Justice for Tyre Nichols. See you in the next video. Take care.